Hi friends, welcome back to Faith and Arrow Homestead. My name is Jaylee and we are finally here. We are starting seeds today. I am outside. It is supposed to be almost 50 degrees today and we're in the 40s already. It's about 11 a.m. and I'm really excited to get started. So there's a couple of things that I want to cover with you before we get into actually starting the seeds. First of all, I have been struggling with some pests in my seed starting room. This is my third year starting seeds in this room, and I had some trouble with aphids because I brought some pepper plants in from last summer's garden, and I think that is done. I don't think I'm having any more issues with those, but now I'm having trouble with some sort of fly. I don't know if it's fruit flies or if it's fungus gnats or what they are, but there's a couple of things that I'm doing to combat that. First of all, I saw Becky from Acre Homestead get those yellow sticky pages to help catch them, and I do have those in place and they've been doing a great job catching them. I don't know if that's going to be something that would help eradicate them or just simply keep the pressure down, but either way I'm using those and they do seem to really be helping. The next thing, I went through and made sure that all of the supplies that I'll be using this year are very clean. So I've been using this same bucket for my soil this is my third year now, same spoon. I made sure that everything, my trays and everything, was clean with hot soapy water and then sprayed down with diluted apple cider vinegar. And then I actually went into my seed starting room and I cleaned off my grow lights. They started to accumulate dust and dirt. I cleaned the wall behind my seed starting rack. I swept and cleaned the floor, and I just tried to make sure that everything was really clean and well maintained. And then I had a couple bags of just loose soil that I had been keeping in there, and they're going to go in the outside shed, and I'm not going to be keeping those inside anymore. So I'm hoping the combination of all of these things will help keep these pests away, the pest pressure down in my seed starts, because I really don't want to struggle with them to the point that I'm actually not having success with my seedlings because of them. So fingers crossed on that. I'll keep you guys updated. Now I want to talk to you guys about seed starting mix. In the past, I have actually purchased a seed starting mix from the store. And if you ask me, that's probably the most affordable way to do things, but I don't want to rely on that anymore because I lost a lot of my seedlings last year when I up-potted into a soil that was contaminated with something that very greatly damaged and also killed many of my seedlings, and I don't want to do that this year. So this year I'm actually going to be putting together my own seed starting mix. Everything that I need I have right here on this table. We're going to go through it. It cost me about $70 to purchase all of this, and I would be able to start a whole heck of a lot of seeds with all the supplies that we have here today. So it's more expensive, but I think it's going to be better quality, and I think it's going to end up giving me much better quality seedlings in the end. So the very first thing, I'm using cocoa coir. This is coconut fiber, and I went back and forth between using cocoa coir and peat moss, and I ultimately decided to do this because peat moss can mess with the acidity of your seed starting mix, and you sometimes need to add in things like lime, and I just didn't want to mess with it. Cocoa coir is a really great quality product and something that I decided I wanted to use. So here I have cocoa coir, and it comes in this very densely packaged block, and this actually will expand when we add water, but it's packaged very conveniently to be very dense like this. Next we have vermiculite. Vermiculite is another thing that I'm doing in an effort to keep pest pressure down. I'm going to be including vermiculite in my seed starting mix, but I'm also going to be covering the tops of the soil with the vermiculite, and that will discourage pests from taking up residence in the soil of my starts. And then we also have perlite, and perlite helps with drainage, and it keeps the soil from being too compact. It helps keep it light and fluffy. So if you're somebody who's interested in creating your own seed starting mix, you can actually start seeds with just these three products. Lots of people do a soil-less seed starting mix where there actually is no dirt in it, and your seeds would start successfully in these three products. However, I wanted to add some nutrient supply in my seed starting mix. I don't have a whole lot of room, and so I don't always have the capability to up pot right away, and I want them to be able to, the seedlings to be able to sustain in their tray for as long as possible, their small cell, until I have the time and the resources and the space to up pot them. And so I did want to include some compost in my seed starting mix. Oh, thank you. This made me very nervous because I had the issue last year when I bought soil and brought it in to up pot my starts. And so I looked for a very good quality. I know that Vermont compost is a great option. I don't really have the budget for that, and I would have to order it. I couldn't find it sold locally. So I ended up going with this Lighthouse Gardens certified organic potting soil. And the thing that actually sold me on this is that this is a local product. This is produced in Lima, New York, and that's not where I live, but it's pretty local to me. It's within driving distance, and I love supporting local, and I love that this is a local product. And if I really like this soil, I may even be able to work with this company in the future to buy larger quantities if that's something that I wanted to do. These chickens are a menace. So this is an organic compost-based potting soil. Now when you're starting seeds, you really want a seed starting mix because seeds only have so much energy to sprout and come to the surface. So you don't want to plant them in anything that is too dense. You really want something light and fluffy, something that's easy for them to come up through, which is what these three products are going to provide. I don't know that I would start my seeds directly right in this potting soil alone, but with these three things combined, we're creating a really light, fluffy, but still nutrient-dense soil to start these seeds in, and I'm really excited to see how this does for me this year. I have high hopes for the soil with it being a local organic product, but of course there is always still the risk that maybe it is contaminated, but we'll know that very quickly upon starting these seeds. Now this is just the first seed starting date. I have three. Today's March 1st. I had on here March 2nd, which is tomorrow, but I'm busy tomorrow, so we're doing it today. And then I also have March 16th we'll be starting seeds. April 6th we'll be starting seeds, and then I have a direct sow list that we will put out directly when the time comes for that. So I'll know by the time we're ready to start the second round of seeds if these products are going to work or not. So it's an experiment. I've never done this before. This is my third year gardening. We're going to be doing a lot of experimentation over the course of the next few years because it takes time when you're gardening to learn what works and what doesn't. But I'm very excited at the prospect of starting, creating my own seed starting mix. And I'm excited to get started. So I've got my bucket here. I've been using this bucket to put my soil together for years now, and we are going to do that today as well. We're going to start with the cocoa core because we need to add water to it and let it hydrate and expand before we add our other ingredients. So hopefully you can see here, this is very solid, a very densely packaged block of cocoa core, and I'm just going to try and break some off. Look at how light and fluffy that is. That's going to be beautiful for starting seeds. So I'm just going to go ahead and get a decent bit of this. I think I'm only starting 2 trays of seeds today, so I don't need a ton, but I'm going to go ahead and try to get some here in my bucket. All right, I am experimenting with ratios. I don't have a formula for you because I've never done this before. So I've got about 6 cups of this broken up cocoa core in here. It looks amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and get some water in here before I add anything else and let this start hydrating so I can see what I'm working with from a volume standpoint before I add any of my other ingredients here. I also don't know how much water this is going to take, so I just have, this is a reused bottle. This isn't a new bottle. I'm just going to put some in here and mix it around and see what happens. Oh, much, much more than that. I'm going to put the whole bottle in here. Something tells me this is going to take a lot of water to rehydrate. Oh yeah, all I did was pour in 1 bottle of water, and this is already taking up double the amount of space in this bucket than it did when I first put it in. So I can understand how, which it says that on here. What does it say? It says compressed block equals 2.5 cubic feet bag of soil. So this is much bigger normally, but they've got it compressed into a block. So I guess it's not surprising to me that adding water to this is going to cause it to expand in volume. So I'm glad I didn't go overboard, because I wanted to add more in here, and then I stopped myself because I was like, well, let's see what happens when we add water. So I'm gonna go get another bottle of water, and then we can move on to adding the rest of the stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and add the whole bottle because we've got more stuff to add to this anyway. And when you're starting seeds, you want a damp soil to plant them in. Let's move on to the vermiculite. So we're actually not going to be adding a ton of vermiculite. I'm actually more using it for the top of the plants than I'm using in the plants. But I do want some of this in the plants. And look at how, let me see if I can come over here and show you. Look at how pretty that is. I have no idea if you can see that. That is so pretty and looks so good. We're gonna go ahead and get this in our mix. And I'm just gonna do a couple of handfuls. Again, this isn't the main ingredient for in here. I'm mostly going to be putting this on top, but I do want a little bit of it in. And this is going to help prevent any pests from taking up residence in our soil. They don't like it. It's harder for them to move through it. And having it layered on top of the soil is going to help keep them from bedding down in it and laying eggs or doing whatever gross things bugs do. And I'm praying, my fingers are crossed, that we don't have a real big issue this year with pests in our plants inside. Okay, great. Next up, we have our perlite, and we're going to be adding a lot more of this than we did the vermiculite, because this is going to help give us a really nice, fluffy. This is the white stuff, looks like styrofoam, and this creates aeration in our soil, which basically just means it's light, it's fluffy, oxygen can get down in there, and it's not going to be really, really compact. I'm going to put several handfuls of that in here. This is looking really good, and we still have one more ingredient to add. I actually think that we've got enough soil here to do all of the projects that we have today, to fill all the trays. I wondered about that because, again, I didn't have really a ratio that I was working with, but I think we've got enough here, especially once we add our compost-based potting soil. This is going to be really great in here, I hope, as long as it's not contaminated, and I'm really excited to include this in my seed starting mix. Oh, that looks amazing. Wow. That looks like a really good composted potting soil. Oh, I'm excited. So I'm going to put several scoops of this in here. I just want to reiterate to you the purpose behind using the composted potting soil, because you don't have to add soil. If you're going to use the cocoa coir, the vermiculite, and the perlite, you don't have to add a soil. You can start seeds just in that. And you don't have to do any of this. You can buy potting soil, seed starting mix from the store and just start your seeds in that. The reason that I'm choosing to add the composted potting soil to my seed starting mix is because regular seed starting mix from the grocery store has very little nutrition in it for your seedlings. So they'll sprout, and then there won't be anything in there to feed them and keep them healthy. So you either have to start fertilizing really early, or you have to up pot them into a more nutrient dense potting soil. And I wanted my seed starting mix to already have a bit of nutrition so that they can be sustained in whatever I start them in and not need to be up potted right away. And also just to give them a really strong start so that when they sprout right away, they're already being fed you know, what they need to really thrive and not just survive. Let's see if I'm able to show you what this looks like. Are you able to see that? I know the sun is being kind of funny. Hopefully you can see what that looks like. This looks really nice and fluffy. This is not horribly dense. Our seeds are absolutely going to be able to sprout and come up in this, and it's got everything we need to be successful with these starts this year, and I'm so very excited. This is my 3rd year starting seeds, and I'm just feeling so very motivated and good about it, so I'm excited. All right, here I've got a 72 cell seed starting tray as well as the bottom, and these come from Bootstrap Farmer. So we're gonna go ahead and start filling our tray with our seed starting mix. We've got a lot going on here, so let's get organized. We are starting onions and peppers, cabbage, lavender, and hollyhock. So let me get organized. Oh, and kale. And oregano. And that's it. Oh, no, there is one more. Where is it? Oh, it's in my pocket. We are also starting loofahs. My friend Angela from Healer Ridge Farm gifted me loofah seeds. She also gifted me a loofah, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that was one of those like conventional to farm crossovers that I was like, am I gonna like this? You know how some people get eggs from their chickens but they have a hard time eating them because they're just like not used to it? That was me with these loofahs. I was like, this is kind of weird. I'm gonna wash myself with a plant. I don't know about this, but I gave it a shot because she gifted it to me, and I love it. I'll never be able to go back to washing myself with those plastic things ever again. I love my loofah, and so I really want to grow some so that I can supply myself with them and give them to my husband as well because he also likes loofahs. And so I've heard that these can be hard to grow, so I'm just going to give it a shot and we will see what happens. I've had a couple of people request loofah starts from me if I'm able to get any, and one loofah plant can provide anywhere from 5 to 30 loofahs, and so I only need a couple of them, couple plants for myself. So I'm going to try to start 6 and we'll see what we end up with. The onions I don't have to worry about right now because I'm starting these in a separate container. So I have spots for the hollyhocks, I have spots for the cabbage and the kale, got spots for, we'll do the lavender and the oregano on the end here. That leaves me 4 spots, and I'm gonna need more than that. So we will take the cabbage and the kale separate, which actually makes sense to start these separate because these are gonna go out in the garden a lot sooner. So we'll start those separate. So we'll put the loofahs next to the hollyhocks, and then that leaves us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. All right, that's what we're gonna do. I forgot, I always just use painter's tape with a Sharpie to label right on the edge here. So I've gotta go grab that really quick, and then we can start putting seeds in our tray. All right, we are going to do this. Now, I can't really change my camera angle. Normally I would try to give you cool shots and stuff. I can't, my tripod fell over and broke the other day, and I've got it super glued together. And until I can purchase another one, this is what we're working with. So I don't really want to move it. I've got it in a good spot. So I'm just gonna show you. We are gonna go ahead and start our hollyhock. We've got the Carnival Red, we've got the champagne, and then we've got the loofah seeds from my friend Angela at Healer Ridge Farm. And we did go ahead and start some hollyhocks in my tote, my little greenhouse tote. One of them has sprouted, so that's very exciting, but that was just an experiment, and I really want hollyhocks. I've wanted them for years now, so we're gonna go ahead and start them and just see what happens, even though I've already got some in the tote. I have the hardest time with hollyhocks. The planting depth for these hollyhocks are 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just gonna go through with my pinky. Next up, we've got the red ones. Part of the reason that I have struggled with the hollyhocks is because I really want to grow them along the shed, but something is always living under the shed and comes out and eats the tops off of them. And by the time they've recovered, it's too late in the season for them to reach maturity. So I'm hopeful for this year because now we've got Cheeto out here, catching critters left and right. So I'm hoping he helps keep that pest pressure down in the yard this year. And then also I'm thinking I'm probably going to cover these with like a clear milk jug or something to help them become bigger and more established outside and safe from any potential pests. I don't know what the planting depth is for the loofahs. Let's take a look at the seeds. I've never even seen a loofah seed before. These are so cool. Look at these loofah seeds. These are awesome. I've never seen anything like it before. So I'm assuming these probably have a decent depth. I'm going to guess 1/2 inch. So I'm just gonna go a little deeper with my pinky than I went for the hollyhocks and drop these in. These are so cool. Oh, I hope that we are able to grow loofahs this year. Now I am gonna go ahead and do some labeling before we move on to our next plants. I always write the variety and the date that they were started. And then I'll put it right by the spot where it is. And that's how I keep up with everything. All right, next up, let's talk about peppers. Now, there are 3 things that I'm growing very seriously this year, and it's onions, tomatoes, and peppers, because I want to take food preservation very seriously this year. And those are 3 of the things that we consume the most often. And so I want to grow a lot of peppers this year, but I don't really want to mess around with it. I've been experimenting with varieties and types of peppers, and I'm finding that I'm pretty much only using bell peppers, and I had a garden salsa pepper last year that I did not end up saving seeds from, that I'm really hoping my local nursery sells again this year, that I just loved. I am going to be starting all bell peppers and 1 round of jalapenos. I'm actually probably only going to start, I'm probably going to, there's 6 cells in a row, I'm probably going to start 6 jalapeno plants, but if I end up with all 6 of them, I'll give some of them away. I'm not planting 6 jalapeno plants. I don't need that many. I hardly ate them last year. I'll keep 1 jalapeno plant, and the rest I'm gonna do bell peppers. And I want to get a lot of peppers, so we're gonna give that a shot. So I do have the jalapenos, and then I have an assorted bell pepper mix, 2 of those, and then I have this bullnose pepper that I've been growing for years now. I have a mini bell pepper, which I think would be really fun for snacking. And then these are this bullnose pepper that I've saved seeds from. And I am trying to get more into seed saving. We're going to give it a shot. I think peppers are one of those things that can cross-pollinate with each other and end up giving you a pepper that's not quite the same as the parent plant. So I'm not totally sure if this is going to work, but I figure let's try it. Worst case, maybe I'll put these in pots so I'm not taking up space in my garden with them, but I want to try and see what happens so that I can learn. So I think most of these are 1/4 inch. Yeah, these are all 1/4 inch. What about the jalapenos? Yeah, these are all 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to go through. I've got 6 spots. These 3 are already planted. So from here down, 6 spots. I'm just going to go through and put the holes, and I will go ahead and get all of these planted. And I'm starting these for my first planting because peppers can take a while. We have a shorter season here in New York, and I want to really take full advantage of the pepper season this year. So let's go ahead and get these planted. All right, you guys, we have all of our seeds in this tray started. So just to recap, we have hollyhocks, loofahs, peppers, oregano, and lavender. So now a couple of things. First of all, I don't like to top water right after I start seeds because you could disrupt the soil, push them down in farther, any number of things. So I'm going to fill the bottom of this with a bottle of water. Set these down in here so that they can bottom water. And then the next thing I'm going to do is cover them with some cling wrap. And this is going to help lock in some of that moisture, and it's also going to help them be warmer. I'm trying to decide right now if I want to go ahead and put the vermiculite on top now, or if I want to wait till the cling wrap comes off. I think I'm going to wait till the cling wrap comes off, and then I'm going to put a layer of vermiculite on top. No, I think I'm going to go ahead and put the vermiculite on because I'm really worried about the pests, and I don't want to fool with it. Plus, I didn't cover the oregano seeds with any soil, so the vermiculite will be their cover. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that. Some of that may come off when I take the cling wrap off because the cling wrap will have condensation and it may stick, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and cover these, and then whenever you're covering your plants with cling wrap, as soon as they start to sprout, you want to take the cling wrap off. Let's see if I can do this with as windy as it is today. And then I'm just going to put a couple pieces of tape on this to secure it. Okay, and there we go. We have got a beautiful tray of seeds. I'm so excited that I finally was able to start some seeds for the 2024 season. This is amazing. I'm going to leave this out here because it's just such a gorgeous day, but I will take it inside when it starts to get cool. And I can already see some condensation forming on the inside of the plastic wrap, so that's great. One last thing that I want to mention to you in this video is that as soon as these start to sprout, minus things like the lavender, I don't even know if I'm going to get the lavender to grow. I've tried to grow lavender in the past and I can't ever get it to sprout. This is a new variety of lavender that I'm trying, that I purchased. It is Paige's Seeds, and it's an heirloom variety, so I've never tried to grow this before. I'm just going to give it a shot. It doesn't hurt anything. We'll see what happens. I don't know when or if that'll sprout, so but once probably 60% of the tray has started to sprout, I'm going to start feeding it, because even though we do have the composted potting soil in here, I still want to make sure that my seedlings are getting proper nutrition so that they can thrive and grow properly. And so I did get the organic Neptune's Harvest. This was also something that Becky from Acre Homestead mentioned that she used, but I've seen other YouTubers use it as well. And so I really feel very good about the products that we're using this year and the progress that's being made in my own gardening journey, and I'm excited to share it with you. So hopefully you found this useful. If you have any questions or comments about anything that you saw, please, we'll discuss down in the comments. And if you are interested in gardening content, please consider subscribing. That's not all we do here, but we do quite a bit of it, especially during, obviously, the gardening season. So I can't wait to see you in my next video. Have faith, my friends, and keep moving forward.